Good afternoon, everyone, from the studios of CAS. This is the Kean Sports Show with John Mastice and Richard Zeller, but a little different today. Rich is dealing with some stuff. He might pop in, he might not. Hopefully he will. But with me today, I have Kevin Meehan, my other partner, who does all the basketball games with me. Did some volleyball, but he's been doing basketball since we started the season. So, Kevin, welcome.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here. I'm very excited.
Yeah, Kevin started doing basketball same time I did, because he joined at the end of volleyball, and that was fun. And now we're into basketball, women's and men's. So let's start with it. Last night we had a doubleheader. Kean hosted Rutgers Newark in both the men's and women's game. It was split. The women's started off the night with a 66-59 win. The men's ended the night with a 71-66 loss. Which one should we go to first, Kev?
We can talk about the women. It was a much better played game. I mean, the men's did very well, but they ended up not coming out with the win. So
that's 3 in a row now for the women. The last 2 games we've called, they were both in comeback fashion, right?
Yeah, they stormed back in the second half. They're very relentless and resilient.
Yeah, so the Brooklyn game, they came back from 14 down at the half. I think they were down 18 at some point that game. And then Rutgers Newark, they were down 13 at the half and stormed back to win that one. Tale of two halves. They were very sloppy last night in the first half. The passing wasn't good. The shot selection, they weren't creating shots off the ball, and it just didn't look good. And all of a sudden, they just flip a switch, and they're starting to knock down their shots. I think they're starting to move the ball better. I feel like that's definitely key from what I've seen, from what we've seen. You said it on air last night, a lot more passing before the shot, and it opens up a lot of lanes. What do you say?
Yeah, and especially early in the season, Shannon McCoy's been struggling to get her shot going. She does well getting to the line still, but her main factor on offense is her passing ability and finding the open player.
Yeah, absolutely. And she made, when her shots weren't going down, she made some good passes. Obviously, we know that she can score. She's the reigning NJAC Rookie of the Year. She got off to a slow start last year, so I don't think anyone's really that worried about it. And, she keeps shooting anyway, shoot. And, every game she's had some big threes go down. Against Brooklyn, she had a couple big ones. I think last night she had 1 or 2 in the second half against the Scarlet Raiders. So, the shots are there. Three-pointer is a big point in the Kean offense. Obviously, Pace Lang doing everything she can. She was averaging 23.5 going into the night, which is absolutely insane considering she doesn't really take any threes. Probably a little lower now, the average. She had 17 last night, but she's having an incredible start to the season. 5 games in, 4-1 Kean, so they're looking really good. But I feel like, and I was thinking about this today, they're getting a lot of every game. It feels like someone comes off the bench, Kevin, and contributes in a different way.
Yeah, for sure, John. And last night in particular, Sarah Olivero, she was very good off the bench, but Danielle Mills has done a great job coming off the bench. I love her defensive spark that she brings as well.
Yeah, she was really good in the Brooklyn game. Let me just pull up those stats. But she was really good in the Brooklyn game in the second half coming off the bench. And as you mentioned, Sarah Olivero was phenomenal in the second half last night against Rutgers Newark. Yeah, so 8 rebounds for Mills against Brooklyn. The points, 4 points. Shot 2 of 8 from the field, but she played some phenomenal defense and helped them get to the win. And then last night, which is fresh in my mind, so I don't have to look at the stats, Sarah comes in, she hits not 1 but 2 threes. She made an incredible cross-court pass to – who was it, man? Who was it? She made a great pass, and someone drove – I think it was
I believe Filio. It was Filio or Dominguez.
Yeah, one of them. Set up a nice basket. Then she hit back-to-back threes. She made a nice steal. Really changed the tide of the game. And the way the game was being called last night, where it felt like every touch was a foul, you knew you were going to have to go deep down the bench because everyone was in foul trouble for both teams. So, Sarah stepped up in a big way and obviously a big part in getting that win last night. What do you say?
Yeah, and Kean likes to do those long passes, cross-court passes, and they get in trouble with those a lot, but last night it was working in their favor for sure.
Yeah, so Manny King definitely happy about that. Actually, now 3 in a row, so we're talking about the last 2 that we called. In between, they had a game against New Jersey City, which I didn't get to watch, but Rob, who was in the studio as always, filled me in on the crazy ending. So I knew they were down. I looked up, briefly looked at the box score. I knew they got destroyed in the first quarter and just, battled back slowly. And then the fourth quarter came, and the final 2 minutes were just insane for anyone who didn't see it or didn't read the play-by-play. It's going to take forever to go back. But, all right, so they're down 57-55. That's after an NJCU free throw. They missed the second, and then somehow they end up with a technical foul, right? Yeah. Rob's like, yes, you're good so far. So the turnover. Shannon hits 1 of 2 on the technicals. They missed the shot after getting possession. Another foul on I lost where I was now. All right, so basically, let me sum this up. For NJCU, they were up 57-55. 2 minutes to go. They ended up losing the game 61-57. Kean went on the 6-0 run to end the game. Including that for NJCU, it included a technical foul, three turnovers, a lane violation, 3 missed free throws. So I'm not trying to say they backed into a win. They definitely earned it because they battled back the entire game. But it was definitely a unique way to win the game. Wouldn't you say, Kev?
Yeah, John, and like we've seen all year, they've gone down into halftime with some big deficits, and they're able to come back. And aided by the technical free throw, like you just mentioned, and in last night's game, there was also a technical that allowed Kean to add on some key points towards the end there.
That's funny because I told you this when we had a break between sometime in the second half. I was like, out of all the times they get a technical foul, the first half, so many people were angry at the referees. The 26 fouls in the first half. It only took 2 minutes into the second half to get a technical foul. It was like, you might as well have done that in the first half. She did it when Rutgers North, I guess, started to falter. It was 39-31 when she got the technical foul. So it was an 8-point lead. They cut it down from 13 to 8. And I guess I want to say that she was definitely mad, but and I'm talking about the head coach for Rutgers North, she probably did it just, put a jolt of energy into her team. It obviously didn't work. Kean would go on a huge run. They would stay even back and forth for a while, and then Kean took control at the end, obviously. But, just odd timing there. But, yeah, Kean gets the win, and they're looking good, 4-1. I've had great time calling the game so far. Very entertaining. Every game, win or lose, they've been very tightly contested. And they go to Montclair this Saturday to face the Redhawks, who are 2-0 on the season. So 2-2-0 teams from the NJAC going at it. Montclair last night, we'll just go around the NJAC from last night. Montclair beat Ramapo in overtime by 5. Rowan beat TCNJ 68-57. William Patterson over New Jersey City 71-66. Stockton over Camden 60-55. And we already talked about Kean beating Rutgers Newark. So Montclair has won their first 2 conference games. Kean has won their first 2 conference games. Should be fun. Too bad we're not going to be calling it. But we'll be right back here on Wednesday when they host Ramapo, who is 1-1, I believe. Yes, Ramapo is 1-1. So that should be fun. But, yeah, great stuff. Looking good. Let's go on the stats real quick. We already know Lang's leading the team in scoring. I can tell you that. 75%. Yeah, she only shoots 4 threes. 68% from the line. And I'm just reading off meaningless stats now. All right. So let's move on to the men's game. Actually, hold on. The tournament for women's basketball is in Salem, Virginia. That's coming up in 2 weeks. End of the month. Yeah, end of the month. They go to Roanoke, or they play Roanoke, who is the host, Worcester, and Mary Washington, who's actually receiving votes nationally. So should be fun. Should be cool. And finally, let's move on to men's basketball because it's been frustrating to watch because they're in every game. And you did the Kobe game, so you can speak to this more than I can. I looked at the stats and everything, but you called it. Let's talk about Kobe first before last night. How about that track meet, Kevin?
Yeah, and the Kobe game was a fun one to call. Very high scoring. You don't see many scores in the hundreds for college basketball. And Kobe was running all over Kean, and they're 7-0, so they're looking strong out the gate. And Kean was just struggling in transition, trying to find the shooters. They couldn't do it. And Kobe was lighting up from downtown. I believe they hit 21 three-pointers in that game. So you're never going to be close in a game. And Kean managed to stay close, but you're not going to win it if you're giving up 21 three-pointers.
21 for 44. That's a ridiculous clip. That percentage has to come out, let's see, 47% on 44 three-pointers. That's crazy. And the last time, here's a stat, the last time Kean lost a game when scoring 100 points, you have to go all the way back to the 05-06 season when they suffered a 109-106 loss to Rampo. Just to show you how rare it is. Last time they put up 100 points, period, in a game was 06-07 in a win against Mercer Marina County. So it's rare that you see that highest scoring game in a 40-minute time frame. It's even more rare when Kean puts up over 100 and loses the game. But that's what you had on Sunday. And give credit to Kean because I'm sure if someone told you Kobe's going to put up 106 before the game, you're like, oh, my God, it's going to be a blowout. Mm-hmm. But they were there towards the end. 21 for Jeff Cooper, Jamison 21, Lyles 16, Latane 11. Those were your four in double digits. But, they hit 13 threes of their own. They shot a good clip from there. Last night was a bit of a different story. So last night they played a much more defensive team, and we knew this coming in. Rutgers Newark plays a different style than Kobe and Kean. Kobe and Kean match up. Obviously, Kobe's a better team, but they match up for a fun game because they both like to get out and run. We know Kean likes to run. Rutgers Newark plays down a lot slower tempo, and you can see it by the final scores of their games. They're now 5-2. They're a good team. They're coached very well, but they wanted to get Kean into the type of game that they want to play, which is slow, methodical, half-court offense, and they did that for most of the game. And it shows that it definitely showed in the first half the score was lower. Second half it was a lot slower. Kean made a run, but you definitely saw Scarlet Raiders getting Kean out of their offense, Kevin, right?
Yeah, and they have a veteran coach on that side, Loughran, and he's been there for a while. I believe you were mentioning 18 seasons last night. And he has his guys well-disciplined, especially on the defensive end. Every time Kean made a run, he would call timeout and talk them in and wake them up, say, get locked down on the defensive end. And that was the key to their performance, as we saw a few guys with 2 steals. One of them, Jameer Patterson, had 4 steals, and they played a very well defensive game.
And we were talking about, you mentioned the coach, been there 18 years. Obviously very good if you keep your job for 18 years. But me and Rob were talking about this. We were talking about this last night. How many times are you allowed to stop the game, call all 5 of your players over when it's not a timeout? It's just like after a foul or something, or the referees are discussing. How many times did that delay the game? He would pull all 5 players that he had on the court, pull them over to the sidelines and huddle them up. It wasn't even a timeout. He did that, I would have to say, 4 or 5 times, and it wasn't even for a long break. It's not like they were reviewing something, there was a technical handed out or anything. These were fouls, and they would huddle up over by him in the coach's box. I feel like it just slowed down the games, and the referees let it happen.
Yeah, it was very strange, and you saw the referees start getting on him a little bit, but I'm surprised no delay of game warning was issued or eventual delay of game. As he would have
been a technical
easily, because he was calling his team over there and they were huddling up. That is a distinct advantage for
it's
them.
A free timeout, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're not trying to be biased, but we've watched. I mean, I know Kevin watches a lot of basketball. I've watched a lot of basketball. You don't see that in the college game where you get like a free time out off a regular foul. Now, we know like when you're reviewing a play, when there's a technical foul, when there's an issue at the scorer's table and play is stopped. Yeah, we get that. These were regular personal fouls. It slowed down the game. It really did.
Yeah, and I even remember on a few of those occasions it wasn't even free throws. I think it was just a side inbound, and he's calling his whole team over to the sideline. It just seemed very odd, and it really slowed down the game, like you mentioned.
Getting back to the actual game, so Kean made a run in the second half. It feels like they do that every game. They're coached very well by Coach Hutchinson. They don't pull out of any game. Obviously, New Jersey City was a tough matchup. They didn't perform well there, but basically, and they're 1-6. But almost in every game they've been in, they've had a chance in the second half. They've made runs, but they can't finish. And this brings me to the point where I think it's just a matter of they're just a young team and a lot of inexperience. The only senior is Jeff Cooper on the team, so he has to do a lot of the veteran leadership. But in terms of finishing games, getting smart plays at the end of games, getting clutch shots at the end of the games, that's just not there yet for freshmen and sophomores that are still bonding, that are still, learning how to play the college game. I think because it's such a young team and you can see that they're in every game, I think once we move on with the season this year and the next 2 years, there's going to be different results. They're going to be, instead of losing these games by 5, they're going to be winning them by 3 or 4 because they're going to make the right pass at the end of the game. They're going to make the right shot at the end of the game. They're not going to make a dumb decision throwing it halfway across the court. They're going to be making the right decision. They're making the mistakes now, but they're learning for later.
Yeah, and definitely, like you mentioned, they lack that veteran leadership. Jeff Cooper, the only senior. But I do like what I'm seeing from Jalen Jamison, the reigning Rookie of the Year in the NJAC. He has made some great strides, and you can see him at the end of games. He puts his head down. He knows when it's time to score, when it's time to pass. And last night in particular, he would drive late, and a couple times he found Kendall Blunt open at the top of the arc after he had sucked the defense in, and for a wide-open 3, Kendall Blunt cashed in on 2 of those.
Yeah, Kendall Blunt, I didn't realize he was a 3-point shooter. And you even said it on the broadcast because this was my first game last night. I watched him practice a little, but, it's different in the game. I didn't realize he was a 3-point shooter. You didn't realize it really either because he hadn't taken a lot on the season. He went 2 for 3 last night, which isn't bad. He was finding the open spot on the court, and he was hitting shots, so credit to him. Definitely would like to see more of him. Other players that impressed me last night, I would have to say Nate Lyles he's a physical monster. I mean, he didn't shoot great, 3 of 10, 1 of 6 from 3. All right from the free throw line, 5 of 8, but he takes up a lot of space. He's athletic. He gets the loose balls. He's a hard player. Obviously, Jalen Jamison, he makes a lot of this go. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Probably not even his best game. I mean, he's a really good player. He fills up the box score every night. One thing that surprised me last night, their best 3-point shooter, we talked endlessly about this on the broadcast, Jeff Cooper, who came in shooting exactly 50% from 3, which for anyone who doesn't watch a ton of basketball, 50% is very, very good. He didn't get one 3-pointer off last night, and I don't know if I knock on the game planning for not trying to get the ball to him enough, or Rutgers Newark just reading the scouting report and knowing that they had to hone in on him.
Yeah, and he's the senior. He's been there a few years, so Rutgers Newark is probably a little comfortable guarding him. They know his game. He had a lot of trouble getting off screens. They were fighting through him, and it's a testament to Rutgers Newark's defense, really. They played very well, good game plan against Cooper, and just unable to get any shots off from deep.
Yeah, he was doing a good work inside. He was 4 for 5 from the field. Just, again, none of them 3-pointers. And it goes back to the point that Kean had to play a lot of half-court offense, which isn't their strength. Obviously, they can do it. They have the athletes to, get open and everything, but they have the athletes to run the court. That's what they want to do. And for the most part of that game, Scarlet Raiders took them out of it, and I think that kind of bothered them. Another surprising thing was not seeing Jeff Cooper. I'm pretty sure he wasn't in at the end of that game, was he? or was he not? I think Johnson was in. Lyles was in, but I didn't see Cooper in a time where, you needed a bucket. I would think you want to have your senior out there. He was maybe battling foul issues. I don't think he was. Cooper, 2 fouls, so he wasn't really. Kind of surprising just for me, but, just a tough night. Again, they battle. They come back in the second half. They just fall short. And kind of the story of the season so far. But I see better things on the horizon. I really do. I like the makeup of the team. I think Coach Hutch knows exactly what he's doing. He has great history. He knows the game, and he's going to get this team, this program, starting to win games in the NJAC. So their schedule obviously looking much like the women's schedule in the upcoming days. They're at Montclair Saturday. Home against Ramapo, we'll have the call on that. Rutgers Camden, December 14th, and then they play on ESPN Plus. So if you want to spend the $5, go knock yourself out. I'll be watching them because I already have it. That's December 22nd. That's an exhibition, so it won't count towards their record. Obviously, it's great experience because they're playing a D1 team in NJIT. It'll count towards NJIT's record, but see how that goes. Then they go to Throgsneck. Play Maritime, home against St. Joe's Brooklyn, and then they start the conference schedule up again after the New Year on January 8th, which is a Wednesday against Stockton. So good stuff coming up for them. They'll have a ton of time to string some wins together. Only 0-2 in the conference. It's recoverable, but, they got to start finishing games, and that starts with Montclair on Saturday. But anyone else that's kind of surprising you, Kevin, so far this season that you're like, you like what you're seeing from him?
Yeah, there's a couple freshmen on the team. I like Mario Gunn, big man, and his effort on both ends of the floor. He sets hard screens, but he is always in the paint on defense to alter shots. And I like what Hutchinson has done early in the season. He's alternated the big man he started, as Mario Gunn's drawn a few starts. Jameer Miller drew the start against Colby. And also Kendall Blunt, he had a couple starts as well this season. So just trying to get some more experience for the younger players. Jameer Miller and Mario Gunn are both freshmen. And like you're saying, John, once we get later in the season and they start getting into the flow of this basketball season at the college level, they will look a lot better. I have no doubt.
Absolutely. And just to go around the NJAC for the men's side this time, we got last night all 12 teams were in action. Montclair over Ramapo, 80-76. Rutgers, obviously Rutgers Newark over Kean. TCNJ over Rowan. TCNJ looks good this year for the men's side, 96-77. William Patterson knocks off NJCU. New Jersey City, a lot of disappointment. Couldn't get my words out there. Lots of disappointment for them. The 3-3 start. They were getting some votes nationally to start the year, and obviously are very, very good. They've been very good in this conference the last 5-6 years. They lose again, this time to William Patterson, and it wasn't really close. At home, 89-71, and Stockton rolls over Camden 91-67. So that's your update there. Let's take a look at the standings real quick, because I didn't look on the week 1 results. Rutgers Newark 2-0. I knew that. Montclair 2-0. Stockton 2-0. Got a ton of teams at 1-1, and the 0-2 teams are Camden, and Rutgers Camden, and Ramapo. So that's what you're looking at on the men's side right now. So that's basketball. It's had a good first month. Fun stuff from the women's, encouraging stuff from the men. Both teams looking good. Going to be exciting to keep calling those games in the future. All right, so we didn't get to talk about the awards for football last week because we weren't here last week. And then 2 weeks ago when they were announced, it was the day after we had the show. So congrats to Dante Capanzoli, co-defensive player of the year, absolute beast this year. Not surprising that he won it. Really, really good. I think Ben Davis won it with him from Christopher Newport. Yeah, I think it was. I know that stuff off the top of my head, Rob. I know that stuff, man. All right, so I'm trying to get Capanzoli's stats here. You have this in the press release, don't you? Capanzoli. Oh, it's Kim's. Okay. All right, so 11 players named to All-NJAC. Obviously, Dante Campazzoli got first team. He won co-defensive player of the year. For the rest of the first team, you had Deshaun Reed, Dante Jameson. I would assume Dante made it in the special teams area because he was very, very, very good all season returning kicks and punts. Second team, Essie Asari, Jamel Daniels, Peter Lejawa, and Dietrich Trumbauer and Purvis Hatcher all earned second team honors. And then Miles Toppin, Keon Taylor, Anthony Bassani, they got honorable mentions. So not a great looking in the schedule, in the record. They were 3-7, which is an improvement, but you can tell that they have a ton of talent. 11 All-NJACs, and obviously an improvement from a season ago to go from 1-9 to 3-7. Coach Garrett knows what he's doing there. He's going to have those boys ready for next season, and they're going to start winning a lot more games. And again, congrats to Campazzoli. Phenomenal season. Not surprising, though. All-Americans for the NJAC, there were only two. Rune Peel for Wesley and Tyler Norwood for Salisbury, just a little nugget. And for the NJAC in the national tournament, Wesley lost to Delaware Valley, and it was Salisbury destroying. Who was it now? No. Oh, yeah, Union, New York, yeah. And then the other big upset, North Central knocked off Mount Union, which is a huge, huge upset. So, two of the teams, and get this, so we're down to, what are we down to, 8 teams? Yeah, we're down to 8 teams. 2 of the 8 teams left, which means 2 of the top 8 teams on the country were on Kean's schedule this year. Delaware Valley and Salisbury. And 3 of the last 16 were also on there because you had Wesley, who was eliminated by Delaware Valley. So, Kean's schedule, I know it's 3-7, but Kean's schedule was very, very, very tough. And, you know, they were outclassed by Del Val 37-7. Obviously, Salisbury was tough, but they competed with Wesley. They ended the season tough against Montclair. It's a tough loss. William Patterson and Christopher Newport and Springfield or Dean were the wins. But a lot of encouraging stuff for the football team, and I think they're going to be looking at some bright days ahead. So let's move on to soccer because soccer played ECACs. We haven't been here since they were eliminated in the final. So first off, they made a great run. They beat Hunter Arcadia Stevenson to get to the finals against Muhlenberg and then lost 3-0. It was tied at halftime, no score. 3 second-half goals was the difference. But, you know, a great run in the ECACs. Peter John was very excited to get his team into there, and you can see why. They were very good. Outscored their opponents 8-1 through the first 3 games. Muhlenberg, obviously, just the better team that day. Got the ECAC title. But, again, great season for men's soccer. They end 12-8-3. And as for NJAC in the national tournament, Montclair in the Elite 8 round lost to Center. Is it Center or Century? It's Center? Okay. Well, 3-2 they lost, but here's the backstory. They were up 2-1 with 50 seconds to go and gave up a goal with 50 seconds left, 2-2. 4 minutes into overtime, the golden goal was scored by who? Who did they play again? Center. I just said it. Oh, my goodness. Center. So, Center moves on to the Final Four. I think that's being played this weekend. And the other team in there was Rowan. Rowan lost in the Sweet 16 to Amherst. So, that wraps up that for the NJAC and for soccer. Again, congrats on a great season for the men's team. Let's look at some final stats to end the year. See who the star players were. Acosta obviously led in goals. Well, all right. Felipe Lucas, 10 goals. Max Acosta, 10 goals. Great stuff from them. They obviously combined for 20 goals, 4 assists for Felix Pereira. Costa led the team with 23 points. And good stuff. Is Costa a senior? I should know that. No, he's not, so he'll be back. He's only a sophomore, actually. So Kane's going to be looking good for in the coming years. And Peter John obviously knows what he's doing. And he was fun to have on the show, that's for sure. So where are we going next? We are going to field hockey, because field hockey got 3 all-region selections for the NFHCA all-region. So it was Melissa Way, Jenna Petrone, and Belly Reynoso. We were able to talk about 2 weeks ago on the last show. We were able to talk about their season ending. Obviously, it was a tough loss against Middlebury, who ended up winning the national championship for the 3rd straight year. Talk about no parity. But they beat Franklin and Marshall. First, they beat Salisbury 1-0, and then they beat Franklin and Marshall 1-0. But again, Kean was the last NJAC team remaining. So again, congrats to Coach LaFrance and her players on a great season. Had a great time covering them. But Petrone, Way, Reynoso get all-region team. Obviously, Melissa Way tied the school record for goals in a season with 28 goals. She had 63 points. Reynoso, 92 saves, 81.4 save percentage, under a goal per game given up in over average. I don't even know what that says, Rob. What the heck? But yeah, Petrone, 40 points, 17 goals, 6 assists. I think that says over 1,000 minutes logged. Is that right? Yeah, it should be right. That sounds about right.
1271.
1271.
That is a lot of minutes for Belly.
That is a lot. Did you do field hockey?
I did a couple games. I know you were heavily invested in that season.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if you were there though. Like, did you start working before or after field hockey?
No, I called.
You did.
I called a few field hockey games.
Yeah. You did. My bad. All right, yeah. So they were a good team.
They were outstanding, and Belly, I believe in the games I called, she didn't even let up 1 goal.
Yeah, that was a lot of the games this year. But yeah, she's only a freshman, so props to Coach LaFrance for getting her to come here. That is going to be the backbone of your team for 3 more years, and it's good stuff. And she has a lot of players coming back. They're only losing, I shouldn't say only. Petrone and Mills obviously are really good players. It's going to be tough to lose them. But 2 players, I think, they'll reload and they'll get ready for next season, hopefully making another deep run in the tournament. The Final Four is held in Montclair next season. So, if they make it, it'll be very, very close to where we are. So hopefully they can get there. And then they had to go all the way to Middlebury to play field hockey this year. Not ideal. Anything else am I missing? Before we get to the main attraction, the swimming interviews. There's no Rich, so he's dealing with his stuff. But let's play the swimming interview. So this week I interviewed Molly Lasko, Sarah Sissel of the swim team, and their head coach, Chris Swenson. A funny story about we were just talking about you, man. There he is. But I'm going to play the interviews, then we'll get Rich on. So, yeah, funny story. We had to go 4 takes for this interview, and it's never happened to me in my life. A couple of them were my fault. I just couldn't contain the laughter after the first mess up. But, yeah, so we'll play the interviews now, and we'll talk about it when we come back. Alana, Sarah, Cyan broke the medley record. How much hard work is put in as a team to get the result you had last night?
We put in a lot of work, actually. The week before Thanksgiving, it was probably one of our hardest weeks here yet. And Thanksgiving we did have off, but we still came in and on our own time was able to stick to being in the water and really practicing hard to be prepared.
You've been here for 3 years, second with Coach Swenson. How exciting is it to see the program Coach is building here for now and into the future with all the recruits he's getting?
I love this question because I was able to be here for the first year, so I get to see the progression the most. And I will say it is so exciting to see the recruits coming in next year and all the hard work that we've been putting in to be able to get to where we are right now and where we're going to be in the future. even when I'm not here, I'm going to be like on the sidelines cheering. I'm so excited.
Give me a sense what it's like swimming for Chris and how enjoyable has it been?
Since he's right next to me, I gotta. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually really fun to be with him. He always comes in with a positive attitude, so it makes practice a lot easier. Let me tell you, but his workouts are not always the easiest as well. So when we're done with it, it's always rewarding to be in the locker room and be like, "Oh, that was so tough, but we still made it through." So.
Thanks, Molly. Sarah, you were recruited by the previous coach. How has your expectations changed since Coach Swenson has taken over?
They've changed drastically because whenever this season had started, my first year, he wasn't a coach yet, and it was we waited, and then he finally came, or they hired him in, and like it went from 0 to 100, and we just started going up and up. We haven't stopped going higher.
I want to hear from you as a member of the squad. What are the expectations going into the second half of the season and into next season? What is the main goal in the locker room that your team wants to accomplish down the road, seeing that you yourself still have 2 more seasons left and lots of time to make a difference here at Kean?
For the rest of the season, we want to get as many wins and just get better, race against the clock, and get as place as high as we can at Mets, at least 10th is like kind of what I've set for the team. And bringing in the girls next year is I don't know what like the
That's all right.
yeah.
You're from Kansas. What's it like coming halfway across the country to play at Kean here for Coach Swenson?
It's really like an extended family. Like swimming is my second family away from Kansas.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. Coach Swenson, we talked before the season about taking small steps to improve from every season and every meet. Where do you see improvements this season that you maybe didn't see last season, and has you excited going into the second half of the season?
I think as a whole, the team has just been more consistent. You know, we've got 8 girls right now. We've got 2 transferring in January, but it's just a really complete 8. And they race hard. They don't give up. They swim with a lot of heart, and it's a lot of fun to come to work and coach them every day.
You've had many stops along the way before taking the job here at Kean, including Notre Dame, Princeton, St. Peter's, and Rowan. How have these jobs prepared you for taking control of this program and putting them on the fast track of rebuilding?
I think every stop is a learning opportunity. You know, just being at those schools wouldn't have been enough if the coaches that I was learning under weren't providing me an opportunity to be taught. So I took something from each of those spots in terms of recruiting, training, the way you treat your athletes, and I just kind of made it my own, and, you know, we're taking off with that.
You told me one of the goals was to eventually compete with the top schools in the NJAC. After last night, it's looking like you're making strides. Out of conference, your squad has been very good as well. When do you expect that to translate to NJAC play?
Next year. I think the element of surprise is just about over for us. People are definitely taking notice of what we're doing. And with the girls we got coming in and the fact that we have no seniors on our team now, plus 2 that are going to be joining us mid-year, the future is very bright. I'm not going to put a limit on it because, you know, the talent that we've got on the roster currently, plus, like I said, what we're bringing in, it's, you know, I'm not going to cap that because who knows how great we'll be. It's all going to depend on staying healthy, getting in right when we need to get in, and putting in the work. And I have every bit of faith in them that they're going to do what they need to do to get the job done.
Coach Swenson, Molly, Sarah, thank you. And that is the interview with Molly Lasko, Sarah Sissel, and Chris Swenson. Chris Swenson. Take number 4, that was. Pretty funny stuff. But they were great guests, and thanks for sitting down doing the interview. Swim team looking good this year. They're going to he's recruiting a lot of really good swimmers. they're going to be very good very soon, and they're good right now, but they're going to get better. And he has some really good swimmers on that team. They just broke the medley record, as I mentioned in the interview, the other night against who they play? Patterson, William Patterson. So that's really cool. But what's even cooler is now we got Rich here, just in time for the closing thoughts. But first, how about that summit last night, man? You were the guest speaker, so you're really the star of the show now, right? You were the guest speaker at the summit. Is that right?
Yes.
But all right, so
really should have been you in there, John. You put a lot of hard work into putting it together. You should have been invited as one of the VIPs.
Yeah, if you didn't know, I put together the brochures for the social media summit. That's the work I put in. I was actually gonna go, but obviously Kevin and I had the 2 games.
Not just go, speak.
Yeah, you know, I'm the master of social media, definitely. That's who they want speaking.
But it was more than just about social media. It was just about like even creating content, which you do weekly with this show, and even when you're broadcasting live sports.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go. I want because it sounded like I could learn a lot, but you know, I got Rich, so he's like, there's like my free education right there for everything content wise, social media wise. All right, so closing thoughts for Kevin. What do you got? These are just like, you know, anything, any sports, anything. Just give me something nationally, something. Basketball.
Anything?
NBA.
Yeah, you know, I'm a big NBA fan. LeBron's been doing his thing this year in LA. I love it after having not a great year last year. I love what he's been able to do this year. As far as the NFL goes, I'm a Raiders fan. We had playoff hopes, but they've kind of fallen off the past couple weeks, not looking too hot. I like what John Gruden's doing overall, but he's going to have to show me some more.
Yeah, so I'm getting ready to watch my Cowboys tonight. Probably break my heart again. They already ruined my Thanksgiving with that pitiful performance against Buffalo. I mean, I could sit here and talk for hours how mad I am, but just, you know, they got a great quarterback. Don't even talk to me about Dak. I love him. He's the man. But the coaching, I mean, I could pick someone off the streets and he could do a better job than Jason Garrett. So, yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now. Tough life being a Cowboy fan. And I had a lot of other thoughts to give out, but really, let Rich give us the closing thoughts of the day.
No, I only got 6 words. Sign Garrett Cole, fire Jason Garrett.
There you go. I mean, I agree with everything there. Sign Garrett Cole. You know, throw all the money at him. Throw the franchise at him. Throw the key of the city to him. Who cares? All right, that's another show. We'll be back next week. We're going to have women's basketball on, Coach Mandy King. We'll have 3 players on, so tune in for that one. This has been John Mastice, Kevin Meehan, Rich Zeller, Rob Bergman in the studios, saying so long on the Kean Sports Show with John and Rich. Take it easy.